We really appreciate you joining us. And today we are going to definitely be looking at sort of your documents and integrating them with your DMS system and working with PDF software. But in addition to that, I'm also going to be leveraging a product called CompareDocs and also an additional product called CleanDocs. And so what that is going to enable us to do is to create a document in our PDF software. We'll be able to run some comparisons against that particular document. We'll also be able to clean it, and then we'll see an example of sending that out the door using our document management system. Something to keep in mind, this document management system I'm going to be displaying for you all today is NetDocuments. So I'm going to use that as sort of our backbone platform to display sort of the functionality I'm going to be covering with you today. So the first thing I wanted to review with you is sort of what brings us here in really needing to leverage this software. So before the current situation that we're in with the coronavirus, we still had a need to allow people, especially in a remote capacity, to be able to do things without necessarily having to leverage hardware. So for example, when we're talking about documents, when we're thinking about sort of a traditional organization, we think of printing. And when someone is remote, not everyone has printers. So we need a solution, we need these solutions that will eliminate the need to print something. Once we actually have a document, and we are able to skip that printing process, there is the next stage, which is the reviewing process. So we need a way to, when we're not in person with someone, I can't hand them a document. We need an electronic solution that we can collaborate with our coworkers, or mainly, in addition to that, ourselves, right? Be able to look at the changes from one document to another. So again, we need software, and our PDF software and comparison software can really help us in that reviewing process. The next thing to talk about is signing a document. So again, in today's day and age, we're not able to put a pen to our screen to sign a document, right? So we do need a solution in working around the challenge of having to use our pen. So that's really where we talk about sort of signature software that we can deploy as well. And finally, we're talking about our final stage, which is once we've, essentially created our document, we've reviewed it, we've signed it, we now then have to deliver it to our client. Or our recipient, and really leveraging software that will enable you to clean the metadata out of a document is really important. And what I mean by metadata is if any of you have started off with a particular document and you go to make changes to that document, perhaps you're using that document as your foundation. You really need to think about having software to scrub out. Let's just say you make a copy of that original document. You really need cleaning software that will scrub out the metadata that shows who the author was and maybe some of the changes that were made. All of that can be done with scrubbing software. So the next thing we're going to talk about is really the first step in our process, which is the creation of a document. So today, again, we're going to look at creating a document both in MS Word using what I just described as we're going to create a document from an existing document. We're also going to be doing that side by side with PDF docs. Once we've created our documents, we're going to move on to our next stage, which is what we're going to do is talk about comparing documents. So we are going to leverage, in this example, we're going to be using CompareDocs to compare our documents. But we're going to talk about some of the challenges that we have with comparing documents, let's say inside of Microsoft Word. Once we've compared our documents, we are going to then talk about cleaning our documents. As we go to send that document out the door, we're going to talk about cleaning those documents, scrubbing the metadata, and then finally, we're going to talk about our final stage, which is our sort of filing that document and sending. So again, if you're sending that document out to your recipient, we most certainly want to have a record of the fact that we had sent it out and in what format and naming convention did we use to do so. So without further ado, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to bring my screen over here and we're going to jump into it. So the first method I'm going to lead us through is leveraging the Microsoft Word version. What I want you to see is that I'm, again, currently in Net Documents, and we're going to be working with these two documents as our foundation. So the first one, I named this Lebowski Trust document. I put the word Word at the end of it because that's the one I'm going to really leverage within my Microsoft Word. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that document. We're going to check it out in my document management system, and we're going to now see it inside of Microsoft Word. So as we would normally do with any document, we're going to come through our particular document, and at some point in time, we are going to most likely make a change to that document. Perhaps we remove a section in that document that we don't need. Once we start to make some changes within this document, again, I'm just deleting certain sections. I'm now going to go ahead and I'm going to save this document. Using Net Documents, I'm just going to go ahead and come in here, and it's going to allow me to save it as a new version. And for this example, we're just going to call this the TED version. And I'm just going to say that there are changes. So once I've made these changes, I now have my document, and it is saved. When I expand my window here, you'll see that it is now version number 2. So like we often do within editing documents, at some point we need to compare what the differences are between one document and another. But before we're going to go ahead and do that comparison, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leverage my ability to open this up into my PDF software. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is you'll see that in my ribbon here, I have a Docs Corp ribbon. And today we're really going to leverage some of the Docs Corp products. So I'm just selecting to open this inside of Docs Corp, inside of my PDF program. And so what the system is doing, and I want you to make note of this, is that it has taken my document, which is a Word document, it has opened it up into our PDF software program here, and it is now a PDF. And so a lot of times with PDF software, maybe you're coming in here and you might be doing specific markups. In this case, I'm just going to do something very basic. I'm just simply going to apply a watermark stating that this particular document is a confidential document. So now that I've gone ahead and done this, I can now leverage my ability to look at the changes from my original document, because a lot of times we need to really do a comparison between a document before we're going to send it out the door. Make sure that our changes from our original version is correct. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my compare option here, and it's going to launch open my compare docs. It's transferred into my compare docs program, and this will give me the ability to go into my Net Document system, and I can pull up that original document that we basically started off with. Now, something that's really important to point out here that we're doing that is sort of we can view it sort of as outside of the box, is that most products like Microsoft Word will not allow you to compare a Word document and a PDF at the same time. Now I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and view this document. And so what I'm running here is my comparison product that is going to take a Word document and compare it against a PDF. So if any of you are familiar with Microsoft Word, what you'll notice is that Microsoft Word does not allow me to do that. I can only compare, a Word document against a Word document. What's nice about really leveraging that as one of your solutions is that it will not only allow you to compare PDF to PDF, but it will also allow you to look at other documents such as Microsoft Word and really use the power of the program to really look at comparisons between the two of those as well. So, once you're done running your comparison, what's nice about PDF docs is that there will be a result page. So you'll see at the very end of my page here, I have a summary that CompareDocs has run for me, and it just lets me know any of the changes from one document to another. It sees that there was deletions, changes, and so it's compared those two results between those two documents. So once I had this compared results document, again, generally we're not going to send out a document like this to our recipient, but maybe there is value in keeping this particular comparison. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit on my Save As option, select to save this into Net Documents, and I'm going to choose, in this particular case, we're going to save it as a new version. I'm going to go ahead and select that we're going to go ahead and add this to one of my existing Word document. We'll go ahead and add that in there. I'm going to go ahead and select OK. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create or save a comparison document. Now, again, realize that we're looking at that comparison within Microsoft Word. Now what the system has done, it has created a brand new version number 3 of our compare result. So now we have, we've created our new document. We've used our comparison program to see what the changes were against our original. And now we've taken that compared result and saved that as a new document. So now I have sort of my final step. We've done our comparison. We feel like our document is ready to go. So there's a couple different options I can do to send out our original document. Again, I'm not going to send out this particular version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch over to my Microsoft Outlook. And what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to open up a brand new email so you can kind of see what this flow is like. I'm going to go ahead and hit new here. And what I've done here is I've opened up a brand new email. Again, this is connected to my Net Documents. So I can click on my ND attach. And since I've been working with these documents and they all flow inside of my recent documents, here is that document that we originally started with, that Lebowski Joint Trust with 3 versions. Now I can come in here, click on my 3 versions, and this is the TED version. This is the one that I want to send out. So I can just select, this is the version that I want to send out to my client. Go ahead, insert that into my particular document. Now, once that document is inserted, I can start to really leverage some of the other tools that I was talking to you about before. So the first one is I can come up here to my Docs Corp application. Actually, I'm going to, come over to my message here. And first, before I do anything else, I just want to show you, I can change the name of what my recipient is going to see. So I don't really want to have Word at the end of this. I just wanted to say amendment here. So I'm just going to delete, just going to delete that. And what I can also do is I can click on this button and we can convert it to our PDF here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And finally, as I'm converting the name of this document and converting the format of the document, I'm also going to file it. So our system, we leverage ND Mail, which is an add-on product in Net Documents. I'm just going to click on this little option to file it, and I'll go ahead and put in my recipient name here. So now I'm basically, I've converted my document, I've put in my filing information, I can run my clean process and it'll look at this attachment. Now, something to point out to you about this metadata scrubber is that this can be deployed on an individual computer or what we call sort of a global delivery. So on an individual computer, you sort of act as your own computer administrator, and you can control what settings you use to clean this document. There's all sorts of different settings in clean documents you can leverage. But if you're running an organization, you can also control what your users can do as far as cleaning documents. Certain organizations only give certain people the ability, for example, to skip a clean. A lot of organizations require documents to be clean, but certainly something to keep in mind is that if you are collaborating with someone back and forth, you wouldn't necessarily want to fully scrub the document because you would be cleaning out maybe your red lines and things of that nature. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my process button here. It's going to go ahead and scrub and take a look at my metadata on my document. Once it's done, I can just simply hit send. And maybe I want to put in my subject here. Now we'll just go ahead and simply send that document out the door. Just going to go ahead and send, and now we've sent that document out, and from our original after we've run our comparison. So that is an example of what we can do if we sort of leverage those my Docs Corp solutions. Now the next thing I wanted to show you is we're going to work on this next amendment document right here. I'm going to go ahead that into Microsoft Word as well. And I want to show you, again, we talked about that comparison situation. So we start off with our brand new document, and I'm going to follow a similar path of what we just did. I'm going to remove a couple paragraphs here. We're just going to do save as, and we're going to create a new version of this particular document. So once I've made that change, I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and now I've created a brand. Now, the challenge that I have is that if I did want to do a review and I only had a word comparison option available to me, I could come up here and do this ND compare. And so what ND compare would allow me to do is to only compare two versions of the same type. So it doesn't actually show me any of my other options available. So I can only compare a Word against a Word document. So if that's all I needed to do, then certainly that's something you can do. But in today's day and age, if you think about the fact that you're sending and receiving documents externally, you really want to have that option to be able to compare PDFs against Word documents, because you might send out a PDF to one of your clients, but you want to compare against maybe the original and just see what changes might have taken place. Again, having a product that can do that is really helpful. So what I can do is instead, another sort of workflow to me is I can come over here and I can just launch PDF Docs outright on its own. And since PDF Docs has that connector to NetDocs, I can just simply browse inside of here, come into my recent documents. Here's my Lebowski matter that we just looked at. I could just launch one of these versions. Here's my TED's changes. Go ahead and click on that, open it up into my PDF Docs program. Once we load this into PDF Docs, again, the reason you would really want to leverage your PDF program is for a couple of different uses. The one that I'm using it for is to apply a watermark, but you might have some sort of signature process. So if you're running certain signature software, you can also maybe incorporate signatures into some of your documents. Now, I've dropped my watermark into here. Now I'm ready to basically, again, run a comparison. So I can come over here. I'm going to click on my review option. We'll click on our comparison right here. That's going to go ahead and once again bring open our software, and we are going to come in here to Net Documents, and we're going to do a comparison against, again, one of our Word documents. You'd be surprised how often we have to do this, where you're comparing, a PDF result against a Word document. Obviously, PDF to PDF is pretty simple. It's really when you have to compare a Word document against PDF that it becomes sort of muddy. In addition to that, something to point out is that I could actually do multiple version comparison. I can compare, multiple versions with PDF Docs. So, it's not just a one. I could do a 1 against 2. So again, it's really just whatever you need. Again, in this case, I'm just doing sort of a quick summary for this for our review together. I'm going to go ahead and view this as a new document. And when I do, system's just letting me know that since I have a Word document, it's going to automatically OCR that document for us. So again, it's going to convert that Word document since it's going to do a review against a PDF. It just temporarily converts it for us, which is really nice, to allow Compare Docs to read one against the other. And once it does that, again, what it's in the process of doing, it's creating a brand new document because that's what I had stated I wanted it to do. And when it opens up, it's going to open it up as our PDF document for us. What's also nice is since it knows that it's that PDF extension, it just launches it automatically open for us inside of PDF Docs for us. And again, what's really nice is unlike products like Microsoft Word, we do get our summary page, which will tell us where our changes are. So again, for anyone that might is tasked with doing a bunch of review from one document to another, this is really this can be a really helpful tool in working on some of those comparisons, especially in sort of our remote day and age. Again, just gonna save my comparison into my DMS, which is Net Documents. In this case, again, I'm just going to add it as a brand new version. I'll just go ahead and pick my document that we started off with, which is our amendment. Just simply hit OK here. And once I do so, it basically is going to save our document as our version number 3. And so now we've again created our brand new version of our second document. I'm going to go ahead and in this case, we're going to change our workflow just a little bit. So in this one, I'm going to choose to click on my email option here. We're going to send this as an attachment. So it'll automatically, from inside the system, just transfer that over for us. What's nice is that since I transferred it from our PDF program already, I don't have to convert it. It's already been converted for me. If I did need to make any name changes, like we saw before, I can come over here to my edit button, go ahead and let's just say that I need to reference an amendment number 2, and go ahead and change that name right there, and finally file that as I'm going out the door. So again, just a little bit different workflow there, but really wanted to highlight for you the differences between what happens if we save it as a, if we flow, solely within our PDF product suite, or if we actually change course from Microsoft Word sort of midstream and then email out of our PDF program. So now that I've gone ahead and transferred that over, we basically have our, we've gone ahead and checked that document in. Now, basically, pardon me, 1 second. But basically, now we've basically sent and filed that email all at once. It was actually sort of completely seamless and filed back to the system for me. So, but needless to say, the sort of talking points that I want to resonate with you is that, it's important to think about, the individuals that you all might have working from home, or perhaps you all are, and you're faced with some of these challenges. It's really important to think about, how do you solve that paper situation? And really, these days, really having software like PDF docs or similar solutions will really allow you to take your documents, allow you to convert them, and make the changes that you would normally do with a pen and require you printing out. You can really do it all electronically. And the most important piece, a key piece to that is really cleaning that metadata, because you'd be surprised in an office environment. A lot of organizations run, solutions that will clean that software for you, but depending upon how you're working from home and how you're connecting to your office, you might need that standalone software on your machine. So again, depending upon how you deploy some of these products, if you're deploying them on your individual, home computer, having some of these pieces in place are really really key. So with that being said, I'm going to flip back over to my slide here. So again, what we did was we started off, we created our document. We created both a Word document and a PDF document. We ran comparisons. We also looked at how we can compare within Word and how we can compare using compare docs. Again, that difference being that you can compare a PDF against a Word document, whereas again in Microsoft Word we can only compare Word to Word. And finally, we talked about cleaning documents. So we can clean documents either inside Microsoft Word or PDF docs, or we can send it out, we can clean it as it's going out the door via our Outlook. But again, having those solutions, they really bolt and plug and play inside of our inside of those solutions that you would normally leverage. And finally, we looked at, sending out that email and filing at the same time, so you're not having to, go back and forth with, using separate processes. You can really have that flow into one sort of defined process. So without further ado, I'm going to click over here to my final slide here, and I'm going to pass it back over to Karen.
Great. Thank you, Ted. What great tools. Thanks so much for sharing them with us. Great job. And thanks to all of you for attending. If you were intrigued by Ted's presentation this afternoon and want to learn more about PDF docs and clean docs, or have any other document management questions, I encourage you to take advantage of our free 30-minute DMS consultation. This is your chance to speak with one of the DMS experts at Affinity and get those nagging questions answered. Just reply to the follow-up email I'm about to send and I'll do the rest. We do have more DMS focused sessions coming soon. Our next one is on Thursday, May 7th, called How COVID-19 is Shifting the Legal Culture, which should be a really great session. And Ted will be back to talk more about metadata in June as well. So you can find information about all of our sessions by jumping on to affinityconsulting.com/webinars. Please do share your feedback with us on the survey that follows and join us again soon, everyone.